The staff and families at Yard House of Temecula takes this time out to recognize and salute the local men and women in uniform standing tall for our political and economic freedom around the world. Let's always remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support has kept America strong. This message, courtesy of your good friends at Yard House of Temecula at 40770 Winchester Road in Temecula. They are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Daniel Clark. This afternoon, it's sunny with wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour, the high is 74 degrees. Tonight is mostly clear, low of 55. Thursday is sunny, then mostly clear, high of 84, low of 54. Wind gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. I'm Daniel Clark, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center at the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California. KCAA 102.3 FM, Riverside 106.5 FM, Redlands in the Legacy 1050 AM, Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the
I
answer.
surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so
Okay,
I can come
okay,
over.
come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Amazon Music, TV Live, Rumble, Audible, I just said that already, iTunes, all the places that you can tune in and listen to a show about hope and happiness. Because there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words, no Kanye talk at all, formerly or now, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you're going to be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests, and if you missed my interview, let's see, we've had Fran Drescher, you heard in that promo. We've got an assortment of things about your health. I've had different kinds of doctors on with alternative things. But today we have an MD doctor because she is my very special co-host on my Wednesday series called Doctors in the House. Her name is Dr. Tiffany Tate. And in case this is the first time you're tuning in, she's a U.S. Navy veteran, published author, and retired OBGYN from Compton, California. She is a Renaissance woman for sure. She does cooking, she does singing, she does songwriting, she does playwriting. She's an author, and one of my favorite one of her books is called Bad Touching, and you'll hear more about all of her as we are into Doctors in the House, and we are going to be talking about Tiffany. Dr. Tiffany, what are we talking about this morning?
Today, we are talking about facing fear.
Yeah, so welcome back, Dr. Tiffany. And we're going to launch right into breakfast. You all know that's the drill where I ask you to be grateful. As Snoopy says, there's always something to be grateful for. And I found that when we start this way, it's almost impossible to at least start your day in the most positive way. It's impossible to be in a bad mood, at least until you get to work. So that's what we're doing with you this morning. Dr. Tiffany, you start off this time. One word gratitudes. We'll bounce back and forth. PJ is in the cashew gallery if you would like to participate, as well as my great sound engineer, Frank. And we troubleshooted yesterday. We apologized yesterday for the echo, but we think we finally figured it out. So, Frank, you're more than welcome to also say what you're grateful for, and anybody who is streaming in. What are you grateful for, Dr. Tiffany?
I am thankful for the wonderful cast of my play in the Souls of Women.
Ooh, I'm grateful for technology allowing me to broadcast from my living room.
I am thankful for my fur baby, Mickey Jack.
I love it. 2 days. I am grateful for the pool in my building that I can do some laps in.
And I'm thankful for my children because they would be upset if I was thankful for my dog.
Pets before kids, right? I am grateful for my daughters, Chloe May, Sarah Way, as well. And that is the top of the bun. You just took a bite of my gratitude sandwich as we share breakfast this morning. The bottom of the bun is, what do you like about yourself? Because I believe that self-care is really the foundation of good mental health. And if you don't like yourself, don't reach for the pill, but instead do a little bit of inner work. Dr. Tiffany and I are both in the business of helping you with that. So you can always reach out or just keep tuning in on Wednesday mornings, and we will give you something to feel better about yourself about. So, what do you like about yourself, Dr. Tiffany?
My encouraging spirit.
I appreciate that I have tenacity.
I appreciate my assertiveness.
I appreciate my competitiveness.
I appreciate my kindness.
I appreciate my creativity in fashion.
I appreciate my humor.
And last one is, I appreciate my sense of humor. All right, we just had breakfast together. I promise you, if you do this for 28 consecutive days, you will sandwich your day in the most positive way. So thanks for joining us for breakfast. Where's the button? All righty. Now we are in for the topic of the day, which is fear. And Dr. Tiffany, why did you pick this topic?
I picked this topic because this is October and we know that Halloween is coming, and Halloween can be spooky and it can be scary. And fear is a subject that we often think about with respect to children. But when it comes to adults, there are plenty of things that we can be fearful of ourselves. We can be fearful with respect to our job, with respect to our health, with respect to our relationships. And I began to think, okay, fear can be a lot of things. It can be a catalyst to make you do something, but it can also be polarizing and it can cause you to be stagnant. And then there's also a mnemonic that I was taught growing up. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real, because I love my mnemonics. And when it comes to fear, it's something that's false a lot of times. It's something that you don't necessarily believe. It can not necessarily be true, but you can respond to it in a way that not necessarily is healthy, but sometimes it can. Um, so it's necessarily, it depends on what the situation is. So sometimes it's false evidence appearing real, but when it comes to fear, depending on the situation, it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. And so I
Yep,
began to think about how it can apply.
got it. Wanted to say a shout out Orville Nation is in the cashew gallery. There's other eyeballs rolling in. Thanks for joining us here on Take My Advice on Not Using a Gift Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 FM 106.5. The station that leaves no listener behind. Home to the Asian Oprah. And my mnemonic, I like that mnemonic. I've also heard that. False evidence appearing real. My new mnemonic that I love about fear is called future events already ruined. So if you live in fear, you don't tend to want to try something because you're afraid of, I was coaching someone yesterday, executive coaching, and her fear is that she is going to say or do something that is going to be humiliating and make her look bad at work. And so she does not say anything at all. Now, I asked her, have you ever done anything that, like, you literally could die of embarrassment? Has that ever happened to you in your entire life? And she goes, no. I said, with the reputation you have gained as being a great engineer, leader, great communicator, I said, do you think, even if you said one thing wrong, do you think that would wipe out how many years of a reputation you have? And she sat there and she went, okay. So that false evidence appearing real and future events already ruined says fear is not useful, right? It's not something that you want to lead with, but I'm sure as you do, give the other side, as we're all about balance here, when is fear a good thing? Is there ever a time, Dr. Tiffany, that fear is a good thing?
There are situations where fear is a good thing because when fear is going to protect you, say for instance, if it's a dark alley and there's poor lighting, you have this sense that you need to protect yourself. There's this sense I should not walk down that dark alley because it's not safe. That is self-preserving fear. And there's a sense of fear of death, fear of harm. So that is appropriate fear because, and if somebody is brandishing a knife or brandishing a gun, that is self preservation fear. So there are certain situations where fear is absolutely appropriate. So I don't want to discount fear in every situation because certain types of fear, your body and your brain are responding appropriately, and you need to take that into consideration. You know, say, oh, those doctors said fear is not a good thing. No, no. Some situations, fear is absolutely appropriate, and it's not necessarily always to be discounted.
Yes, great point. And I think fear keeps you alive sometimes. When the days of the cavemen, if you didn't have fear at a woolly mammoth, you would be dinner.
Yeah. Or if you saw a snake, you don't want to get bitten, a poisonous snake. You want to avoid that. These are primal responses. And to avoid the tarantula, you want to avoid the poison. These are innate primal responses. So your body knows certain things to respond to. These are the things that some of these escape rooms are based on. And you want to keep that in the back of your mind. So when you're looking at certain fear responses, you want to keep that in the back of your mind because your body will even respond to that, and you'll have certain physiologic symptoms based on those.
Mm-hmm. And I just had an aha as I welcome to our cashew gallery. We've got uh, Tony Pacelli. I hope I said that correctly. Sounds Italiano, dulce simpatico. Welcome to Doctors in the House. And PJ is surprised that you're here, but happy. And I love it. This is my cashew gallery is full this morning. I'm so happy to have you. And we're talking about fear. Feel free to not be afraid to chime in on your own experiences. I just had the awareness that stress is basically a cousin or one of the ways in which fear can be a symptom. Because
It's
when you're stressed, when you said the body chemistry changing, that
mhm.
also happens with stress. So maybe there's a connection between fear and stress that we're not actually addressing all the time.
There is, when there's all these different types of classifications of fear and then these subtypes. So you can break fear down to like three main fundamental fears, like fear of death, fear of abandonment, and fear of failure. And then you can look into like these different symptoms of fear. You'll have the sweating, the trembling, hot flushes, chills, and how people say, oh, I feel it in my stomach, I have knots in my stomach. You have all these physiologic symptoms, and those are legitimate symptoms because you have this fight or flight response, because your parasympathetic and your sympathetic responses to your body are kind of deciding, what do you want to do? Do you want to fight? Do you want to flight? How are you going to respond? And when you were coaching that client of yours, they had this fear of failure, and you had to try to help them to decipher what it is that they were going to do in that situation. And a lot of times, you don't know what it is you want to do because of that fear. And that is where you have that catalyst. Do you want to be paralyzed by fear, or do you want to use that fear to propel you into success?
Good point. Good point. I know that there's also a term people talk about, fear of success. And I think fear of success is highly related to a disease called perfectionism. And I talk about the perfectionistic slide. I represent the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma. And one of the things that a coping device is perfectionism, because if we get it perfect, we'll be loved, or we won't be hurt, we won't be beaten, we won't be criticized. And so I'm a recovering perfectionist myself, because perfectionism kept me safe. But then as we grow, that perfectionism can lead to, don't want to do it because I can't get it perfect. So then it's procrastination, which is, I've always wanted to be a procrastinator and never got around to it. But and then if you wait long enough, you'll get into paralysis. And that's the fear of doing anything at all because you can't get it perfect. And that uh, frozen in paralysis from the fear of failure and success can really take you down, can really absolutely affect your ability to choose happiness. So that's what we're talking about. Thanks for tuning in. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using a gift balance with Dr. Marissa, the Morning House, and the very special Wednesday series called Doctors in the House with me and
Dr. Tiffany Tate.
AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. So let's see. We've got a great comment here from Tony. Only to realize that one, perfection is impossible. And two, even if you can achieve perfection, the person you are seeking affirmation from will never be satisfied. Yes, absolutely true. Unfortunate, but true. I found that in my perfectionism, I also would go specifically to people who were incapable of giving me the love or the approval that I was looking for, as if to try to fix what happened to me when I was a kid. And let me tell you, it doesn't work for sure.
Yeah.
Dr.
I
Go ahead.
know, growing up the way that I did, having two parents who didn't raise me, I had this sense of abandonment. And I tried to overachieve to get the love that I needed. And so sometimes that fear of failure, you do try to become this overachiever. But there's also, because of that fear of failure, you sometimes get caught up in the fear of failure, and you have to worry about falling into the fear of self victimization, because that is also a fear, and that is a problem as well. And you have to be wary of becoming or falling victim to self-fulfilling prophecies with your client, foreseeing that, oh, I'm going to fail, and having that made up in her mind. Because if you think you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it. And I always tell my children that failure stands for first attempt in learning. And if there's a first, there's a second,
Mm,
there's a third, and numbers are infinite. And if numbers are infinite, the amount of times you can try something is infinite as well. So you can always continue to do something over and over again, and you should never give up on yourself.
yeah.
So that's what we need to ingrain in ourselves. I believe that we always put too much pressure on ourselves. And I think that we have an issue when we're trying to achieve with self sabotaging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Troy, you got an affirmative thumbs up from Orville Nation, who is here from New York or Spain. I don't know where you are right now. Thank you for, we got at least one finger there, Dr. Tiffany, which is not that finger, but this finger. Thanks for that. If you have any questions about fear or personal experiences for about fear, this is a live broadcast. So please feel free subscribe on my YouTube TV channel that has all 1,000. Oh, I forgot to put the banner up. All 1,038 shows now, 597 consecutive weeks. Thanks for continuing to prove those who said to me a show about hope and happiness would not survive. And as I like to do, we have like 3.5 minutes left to talk about the issue before we go to solution. We've kind of done both of it now because I want people to be able to relate and people to understand that we're talking about things that sometimes people don't want to talk about, but they're afraid to admit that they're afraid. Or, what things that you hear people being afraid of these days. So let's get real because the doctor's in the house. Right now, I just this last week, people are afraid to invest money because they're afraid to lose it. They're afraid of where the market is going and the dollar is going. They're afraid of the news, CNN, constantly negative news about all of the, we're not going to be a global power anymore. They're afraid of the way the conflict in politics is tearing us apart. They're afraid that their kids are going to be addicted to drugs. They're afraid that the education system is falling apart. They're afraid that people are going to rob from them, steal from them. They're afraid. Sorry, if you weren't afraid, you might be getting afraid. But I'm putting the moose on the table, which is what I like to do, my Canadian version of talking about the elephants in the room. They're afraid that they're never going to find love. They're afraid that they're not going to have children. They're afraid that their parents are going to suffer. They're afraid that they won't have enough money to take care of themselves when they retire. All of these fears I've heard about, I've had some myself. And let me ask you the question, when you feel or think about all of those things, how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel good or not so good?
I think a lot of times when you have all of these fears, you can search your soul and decide, what do I do? Where do I go? As for me, as a Christian, I go to God. It makes it easier for me because I have my religion. And I take a beat, I take a breath, I say a prayer, and then I begin to reevaluate my priorities. I think God, I think family, and then I think everything else. For people who don't have that, I pray for them and I pray that they get that. And then I start putting my priorities back together. And I believe that although everything seems like it is in a crisis, things are usually not as bad as the media makes it seem. Because no matter what, there is always tomorrow. We're not going to magically implode. When you go to bed at night, you're going to wake up the next day. And there's going to be another day tomorrow. And as long as you keep pushing, things will get better. Things will always get better the next day. And we just have to remember that another day will come. And if you don't mind, I will read my a poem called Better.
Absolutely.
And this is from my book Flowetry. Life, it will get better if you give it time. Troubles don't last forever. Just hang in there, for tomorrow the sun will shine. The storms of life will surely come. And no, they are not fun. Sometimes they make you feel so low. You may think there is nowhere else to go. The storms are there to help you grow. Jesus is with you, so please know. Life, it will get better if you give it time. Troubles don't last forever. Just hang in there, for tomorrow the sun will shine. Your testimony will come from your tests. Be patient and trust in God. He can handle the rest. We already have the victory. God wants us to rely on Him so we can see. Life, it will get better if you give it time. Troubles won't last forever. Just hang in there, for tomorrow the sun will shine.
Aw, that was beautiful. And if you're wondering if that was a poem that's published, the answer is yes, it is. It is a book that you can actually get. And I'm pulling it up right now from Amazon. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Dr. Tiffany Tate Moore, published author. She's got several books out, but that is what she just read from Flowetry, a collection of 108, good number, Tiff, poetic flows on life, love, and
Liturgical
liturgical,
issues.
thank you, issues, paperback, and that came out last year, I think. So go get that because she's very creative and has many ways in which to help you feel better. So yeah, if you've just tuned in, you're wondering what's going on in studio. It is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube TV channel, where most of you right now in the Cashew Gallery are tuning in. Please do free subscribe. You'll get an alert every weekday morning so that you can play and say and sing and recite along with us. Let's see. We've got another Cashew Gallery attendant, Jana Scott. Oh, thank you so much. Dr. Briss is so grateful for your efforts to bring light and positivity to us all. I received that. Made my day. And Orville's welcoming you. And we've got Troy, for God gave us a spirit not of fear, but power and love and self-control. 2 Timothy 1:7. Yeah, you've got, you're preaching to the choir, Tony, with Dr. Tiffany. And we've got some great, you're going to have to do a 2,000 YouTube sub celebration soon. All right, you can organize that. I will absolutely let you do that. And for those of you who, like me, may not be religious necessarily, I grew up extremely fundamental evangelical, which kind of set me on that path of not wanting to be religious at all. And I call it a precursor to agnosticism or atheism. But I have returned to the understanding for me so that anybody who's wondering, is this a religious program? It is not. However, we believe that there are many ways in which to have a connection with whatever you're calling. I call myself spiritual. I call my God UPS man, my universal power source, who delivers every morning when I pray and meditate. So I do believe that, as you said, Dr. Tiffany, if you do have another outside power, or not outside power, for me, it's an inside outside power because I believe I'm an extension of that power called love that we're all a part of. And I'm just a physical expression of that when I'm here on earth. Um, it does definitely help because if you feel like you're alone on a desert island, isolated with no connection to anything, your fear will keep you so isolated that it's not a fun place to be. If you think about the times you shut yourself off from people, not leaving room. I know we had to, shelter in place for a while. That got a good taste. If you're single and you were not allowed to do anything or go anywhere, and you don't have a power outside of yourself or inside yourself to lean back into, it's a scary place. So you could enhance your fear in a negative way, or you could choose to believe something that helps the fear abate. And I think that's my first offer of a solution. If you are in fear and you know that it's not working for you, to think about the connection that things aren't random and chaotic, that life is a gift, that, since when have you ever been so like, have you ever gone without a meal? I know there are people who are homeless who say yes, or gone out without shelter, but the majority of people that have the fear that they're going to end up homeless or without food, that's not real. That is just a fear, worst case scenario, that will keep you in that place of darkness. But if you choose pronoia instead of paranoia, that's my tool that I use. When I hear worst case scenario, I will counter with, but best case scenario is blank. So there's a tool for you. When you hear people complaining or worrying, worry is a prayer for bad things to happen, Native Americans saying, then you may want to counter with, but on the other hand, it could be this. Sorry for soapbox. Go ahead.
Oh, no, absolutely. And even if you want to look at it in the scientific way, as a physician, I always say, okay, well, let's look at it scientifically. If you want to look at it saying, okay, let's look at the brain, there's a portion in your brain called the amygdala. And it's like this little almond shaped thing in your brain, and it's responsible for your emotions. And so it can respond to your emotions, and it kind of hits your panic button. And when that goes off, it kind of makes you respond, and it will trigger you to have this physiologic response. So this will give you the sweating, the trembling, the hot flashes, that choking sensation, the rapid heartbeat, the tachycardia, the numbness, the dizziness, the headaches, the feeling faintness, the dry mouth, the need to use the bathroom, the ringing in the ears, the confusion, the disorientation. And so, when we say, oh my goodness, our stomachs and our intestines, they store our feelings of fear. They really do. And so how they say, oh my goodness, I was sick to my stomach. Fear is that negative sensation that makes you feel that way. And when you want to feel that physiologic symptom of stress in your bowels, what do you do? So you really need to control how you respond to your fear, and you really need to address your fears. And we need to figure out, okay, what do we do? How do we deal with our phobias and our fears? And basically, you want to take a breath, take time out, and face them.
Yeah. Yeah. That breath, you keep talking about the breath. So this is another tool that I it's called Three Breath Technology that I somehow downloaded a couple of years ago. So let's just do it now. Let's say I'm afraid because I just looked at the stock market and what my stocks are doing. And like I literally have probably 8,000 unrealized loss. And that's a lot of money. And so I'm afraid that the stocks are gonna, I'm gonna lose that money. So what I do is I could go one way, which is worst case scenario. Oh my God, I'm not gonna have any money left. Blah blah blah. Or I can just stop. I can't go positive right away. It's almost impossible to take a train going this way really quickly to stop it and go the other way. That's Abraham Hicks' law of attraction. You're gonna upset the contents of the train and yourself. So the tool is called Go General. So when I take a breath in through the nose and release, soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees, another deep breath in, and releasing all the stories and the drama. So in the out breath, I'm going to take all those worst case scenario thoughts activated in my mind and release them out of my body. So the first breath is for body, physical connection, shoulders, knees. Second breath is for the mind, all the stories and the drama. And then the third breath is that hook into that power. So the chi, which is Chinese, I know you thought I was Swedish, Chinese for not good fortune, life force. Okay, it's the breath of life. That third breath hooks me into, look, the planets did not crash into each other last night. We're alive today. I didn't have to tell my body to digest the good food I had yesterday. I don't have to tell my liver to filter it. All those examples are best case scenario, everything's going to be okay. So when I do that, I feel like I can visualize myself just allowing myself to fall back into the arms of a power or a source of love that is saying to me, literally, everything is going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Ooh, my fingers just tingled. So when I do that, I feel better. And folks, that's all it is about. For me, what are you thinking about? Is it making you feel better or worse? If it makes you feel bad, don't think about it. If I don't like what I'm looking at, don't look at it. If I don't like what I'm hearing, don't listen to it. It sounds stupidly simple, but honestly, I've had the best 15 years of my life just using that tool. Does it feel good? No, don't do it. Does it sound good? No, don't hear it. Does it feel good? Yes, let me have it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell on myself, I'm claustrophobic. I hate getting in elevators, and but I will, especially, we have a lot of skyscrapers, and I'm the person, if I get in the elevator alone and I see a big group, I'm gonna hit the button, but I'm hitting the button to close you out. So that's me. But there, I'm telling on myself. I said I'm telling on myself, and so, but and my kids laugh at me, and so because when you take a cruise or whatever, you have to share. And so, but when I do get on the elevator and I have to share, when I get on, I will find a point in the elevator, or if I'm at the hospital, or when I was working in, as a surgeon, I did have to share the elevator with lots of patients sometimes because patients want to share the elevator too. um, I would get on crowded elevators and I would find a focal point in the corner, and I would stare in the corner and I would breathe through it. And you can do this because, life happens and you can't control every situation. And it does work. And so, yeah, I'm claustrophobic too, Maria. It's bad. And I love you because you're my people. And so, and I get sweaty in my hands. Yeah, it's not good. So you can breathe through it. Just find a focal point in the corner, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Visualize, go to your happy place, and and it is an irrational fear because that's what a phobia is. Fear, false evidence appearing real. And I know it's not real. I know it's not. I know I'm not going to die from riding an elevator. It's my fear. I own it. It's mine. Don't try to talk me out of it. It's mine. It's my phobia. I've had it, and it's my people caused it. They used to sit on me when I was a kid. They know who they are. They'll lock me in a closet. They know who they are. Um, I grew up with this.
I'm so
You know who you
sorry.
are.
I'm so sorry.
um,
Send them to me.
yeah, they know who they are. And so this is my phobia. And so I'm arachnophobic too. I have my phobias. They are irrational phobias, but they're my phobias. I own them. And you deal with them and you work through them, and it is what it is. So you have to accept them. You again, you avoid them. Don't burn the house down. Don't crash the car. You find somebody to kill the spider for you. You scream like crazy, but you you make do with what they are, and you live within the realms of them.
Great point. Um, yeah, I don't understand phobias because I don't have them. So the good thing about you having a phobia is you can have more compassion for people who do have phobias, like what we just saw happen, because Maria also admitted that she had a phobia. And I don't know if talk therapy helps or not, but when I do have I've helped some of my clients who do have fears. I have a friend who has a fear of small places. And so, we have a little elevator that goes down to the pool that's separate from the main elevators. And she's like, and I said to her, we don't have to do this, but I'm here and we can breathe through this together. And I'm going to ask you because not only does fear stand for false evidence appearing real, it also stands for future events already ruined. So, what is this fear taking away from me that that could edify the enjoyment of my life? It could be a nice stop on the joyride of my life, but because I am afraid to do it, say it, be with it, then that might help. Spiders don't count. Obviously, I don't know anybody who thinks that spiders are going to edify their life unless there's somebody into collecting spiders. But things like the fear of trying something new, right? The fear of not wanting to try something new because you think you're going to fall on your face and people are going to laugh at you. I take them through, okay, let's say people laugh at you. Then what? Well, I'll be embarrassed. Okay, you're embarrassed. Then what? Well, I won't want to try it again. Okay, then what? Well, and we take it all the way down the line. At the end of it, are you dead? No. Is it really, the tool is INTBOAD. It's not that big of a deal. And sometimes that works, not always. But anyways, I want to see if that will work the next time you get in an elevator. He's like, I don't think so. Forget it. Oh my goodness. Let's see.
I don't know about spiders being our friends, Maria. I don't know.
That's what I do. She agrees. That's what. Please hit that like, folks. Oh, my cheerleader is in the cashew gallery asking people to give me the finger, which is not that finger, but this finger. The like. Thank you for that one person cheerleader I have. No, I don't have. Okay, locked in closet, sat on. Oh, so you had similar experiences. It does make sense, but let me try one more thing before we close out. This will be my final word because I want to give a little love to stuff that's going on with Dr. Tiffany that you'll want to come if you're local. But let's see, spiders are our friends. And I heard Peter Parker agrees, Maria. I've lost out on major opportunities because of fear. Thank you, Maria. That is the thing. You can have fear, it's normal. But here's my analogy. Both you and Dr. Tiffany have had negative traumatic experiences because of people who don't know better, hurt people for whatever reason. That happened. And so you developed fear as a coping mechanism. And it was a healthy fear. You don't want to go to those places where it was pain. It was painful. So you develop I call it like a raft. It's a heavy raft, but it allows you a coping device to stay on top of the water. Now, later on in life, you're still carrying that coping device, right? The fear, that's the coping device. There's no water anywhere around anymore because you're big enough to punch the idiot out to get out of the closet. But there's no reason to be fearful, but you're still carrying that very heavy raft on your back. That is the consequence of taking the same helpful coping mechanisms from your childhood and allowing them to hold you back now. And the best example of this I can give is people who say someone broke their heart. And therefore, for the next 40 years, they're afraid to get in a relationship because of one ding-dong. That is really missing out on life and relationships. That's my final word.
I can ride an elevator. I just freak out.
Oh man. Okay. Bad word up. Every awesome reality. Oh, I like that. Which is another version of future events already. It's a little R-rated one. It's a little R-rated one. So let's see. Before we get back to the topic, I just wanted to tell y'all that Dr. Tiffany, if you are in the LA area, she is doing a couple of things that are coming up, and I just wanted to share them with you. And one of them is a play I mentioned in the introduction. This is this Friday. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm very excited. Actually, we're like almost sold out. So if you're not in the LA area, you can actually stream it. It will be on YouTube. It will be live streamed. So because we're practically like almost at capacity, you can live stream the play, go to the church website, and you can watch it and just give a donation. Now, we are church volunteers, so don't expect Grammy and Tony Award winning performances. These are church volunteers. Just go to secondverschurch.org and you can go to the church website and watch the performance on Friday or anytime thereafter and enjoy the Souls of Women play. I wrote the play, and my daughter and I will also be acting in the play.
That's so awesome. And then
on October 21st from 10 to 7, I will be in the Mahogany Bookshelves booth at the Taste of Soul fair in Inglewood, and we will be signing books. So I will be signing books along with other authors, and you have the opportunity to meet me and to talk to me about my books that I have out. And later this year, I have another book called Little Engine Mia Sings, but this day or that day, I'll be signing Bad Touching as well as my poetry book when I read my poem.
That's fantastic. So go ahead.
I said, come on out and meet us.
Yes, please do. I'm actually going to be that weekend in Catalina, the Catalina Jazz Festival, in its umpteenth year. Fabulous artists. I get to go see my sister, Keiko Matsui, who is #1 Billboard charts as well. So I'm giving a Sunday pass to the first person that goes to drmarissa.life and puts down Catalina Jazz Festival. And I'm also giving a pair of tickets to this week. What day is it today? Tomorrow night. 2 tickets to, let's see, is that sharing correctly? Here we go. At the Saban Theater. I don't know if you know this, Tiffany, I will give you, is that the night of your play?
What night is
No,
that?
it's not. This is Thursday. So you can go. His name is known as Musique Soul Child. 13 Grammy nominations. This is at the Saban Theater. I'm giving 2 pairs of tickets away. Go to drmarissa.life, put down musique, and then you will get those tickets as well. Friday night, I'm so excited. Boney James. He's amazing. Maria, it's worth flying out, I think, from Colorado. He is an amazing jazz musician, one of my favorite. He's also going to be at the Catalina Jazz Festival. So I'm giving 2 of those tickets. Go to drmarissa.life and put down Boney, and you will get those tickets. All right, and where are we now? We are almost to our last 5 minutes, but I'm glad that I got to give you those commercials from fabulous sponsors. I'm so lucky that I have those sponsors, Saban Theater, as well as the Catalina Jazz Festival are good. And last but not least, I am also inviting you to the Newport Beach Jazz Festival. I am a proud sponsor for the 8th year now of the Chinese Spotlight Pacific Showcase. It is an international film festival. I got to flash piece with Pierce Brosnan there, his wife on their film Poisoning Paradise. Lots of celebrities. I am on the red carpet interviewing and being interviewed. So please do go to the Newport Beach Film Fest.org. I'll bring that up in a second, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that. That starts this Thursday. I'll be there for opening night. Dr. Tiffany, take it away.
Well, I have had a good time talking to you about fear. I think it is an important subject, and I want you to know that there is really nothing to be afraid of. You can overcome anything that your mind throws at you. It is really mind over matter. Don't fall victim to any self fulfilling prophecies because you can do and overcome anything that your mind tries to bring at you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Love, Orville Nation. He's my #1 cheerleader. Maria is also, thank you for that. And yeah, if you love jazz, you need to hang out with me because that is one of my favorites as well. Final word. We got the 5-minute mark from Frank. What's your final word, Dr. Tiffany?
I want to say that you can do anything that you put your mind to. Don't let fear stop you because I believe that you should exercise faith over fear, and you can put your mind to, if you believe it, you can achieve it. And don't let any negative thought come to fruition and block it.
And fear for me is not terminal. It's not terminal. So if you feel the fear, feel it. Don't be afraid to feel the fear, but get to the other side. I know that a lot of us have what I call that big black hole in front of us. Maybe it's past pain, maybe it's embarrassment, maybe it's regret, and you don't want to deal with it because you're afraid that if you go and deal with it and go down that hole, you're going to be like Humpty Dumpty and break into a million pieces and never be put together again. That is bullshitaki. Every single person I have held their hand, put in a flashlight, gone down into that hole, dug up all of the negative, painful stuff, that shiitake, and we find the beauty that is you in that seed at the bottom. There is a bottom. You're not going to fall forever, but what you do not deal with will deal with you. And so when you find that you are loving, lovable, and loved in that seed, you can actually take the shiitake, put it back in the hole as fertilizer, and recognize that all of the things that you've been afraid of are actually things that are helping you grow. This I know for true. You are loved, loving, and lovable. You're wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. I know it. If you don't know it or believe it, just know that I do, and I will hold you in that space until you believe it too. That is my final word.
That's right. And Maria and everyone else, you are worthy of love. And don't worry about being afraid of having your heart be broken because hearts can be mended.
Absolutely. Thank you, Peanut Cashew Gallery. Uh, Thank you for that compliment, Jana. And I just I love my life. I love my life. Thank you, Dr. Tiffany, for reaching out to me and wanting to be my co-host here on the show. And if you'd like to be a guest on this show, or if you would like to be a sponsor of the show, and I get to promote you and all of that, please do reach out to me. drmarissa.life is how you can get a hold of me, or you can just do Dr. Marissa 1.justbook.me and get on my calendar to have a little chat. Thank you so much. This is the end of the show. It's all about balance. Ready? Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now, tune in tomorrow. It is Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and my new co-host, Frank, my fabulous sound engineer who's there right now. And remember, go and have the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow.
KCAA Loma Linda.